Thank you all for making it out this early this morning.
Yay.
Okay, let's get started. And everyone's got places to go. But so happy Purim. Today's daf in Masechet Bava Kama is daf Chaf Hey 25. We're at the
Bava
Mishnah.
Metzia.
Sorry, thank you, Bava
Bava
Metzia.
Metzia.
That would be a Purim.
At least one of us is paying attention.
So in Bava Metzia, to be accurate, is Chaf Hey, and we are on the Mishnah at the bottom of Chaf Daled and Bet. And this, in fact, a Mishnah which parallels the first Mishnah of the Parak, right? So the Mishnah started in the Parak Elam Metziot Shelo, right? These are the ones that you are allowed to keep. And we basically talked about finding things that were hard to identify. This Mishnah talks about the opposite, finding things that are identifiable. Elam Metziot, it says the bottom of Chaf Daled. These are the objects that if you find them, you have to announce. Matzah perot bikli. As opposed to finding perot loose, you find perot in a vessel, right? So the vessel, although the perot have no, you can't identify an orange and say, this is my orange, but you can identify the pot or the container or the basket that it's in. Or okli kamoshu, you just find the container, right? Again, these are things that are identifiable. They have a siman. Or you find the bottom line, ma'ot bikis. You find money. Remember, we said money is not identifiable because it's generic. But if you find money in a wallet, the wallet's identifiable. Okis kamot shehu. Or tziburei perot. Remember, the first Mishnah had loose fruit. This Mishnah has tzibur, means they're grouped, right? They're piles, so to speak, which implies intentionality. Or tziburei ma'ot, or money that's combined, that's piled together. Or you find shlosham matbeot zoh gavzu, right? So although coins are generic, if you find a number of coins that are stacked on top of each other, that gives an indication that somebody put them there intentionally and doesn't give up on them. Remember, the whole concept is yush, right? If someone loses something and they don't think they're ever going to recover it, they give up hope, and you can keep it. But here they clearly put it there thinking they're going to come back and get it. Or krichot b'reshut hayachid. Krichot are tied together things. We'll talk about them more in the Gemara. But remember, the previous mission said in Reshut Harabim, you assume you leave them out there, people are going to kick them and move them, and they're not going to stay that way. But in Reshut Yachid, they are. Or kikarot shel bal habayit, or if you have bread that's made by a bal habayit, which, as opposed to a baker, has individual character, so everyone will recognize this is Cecily's challah, right? To use an example. Gizeit samer, or if you find wool that's lukuchimi beit uman, that comes from a professional, so that it's notable that it comes from that person. Kade yayin v'kade shemen, or if you find barrels of wine or oil, all of these things are elu chayav la'achriz. You have to announce that you found them in order to. You have to announce that you found them in order to find the true owner and return them to accomplish the mitzvah of hashavat aveda. Says the Gemara, fourth line. The implication of the Mishnah is Tama de matzah perot bikli. The implication is that you found money, perot, you found fruits in a basket, or ma'ot bikis, or money in a wallet. Hakli lefanav perot. Let's say you found on the street a basket, and in front of the basket was 10 peaches, but none of them were in the basket. So the question then is, right, obviously if you find just peaches, you get to keep it because there's no way to identify them. If you find a basket, you got to return it. What if you find them together, meaning one that has a siman, the basket, and the fruit that does not have a siman, or ma'ot? So we said ma'ot b'kis, hakli lefanav perot, kis lefanav ma'ot. If you have a wallet and in front of it is money, then hare'elu shelo. Then you would assume from our Mishnah, it's only because the money was in the wallet that you have to return it, but if it was in front of it, you don't. That is taninu l'hadatan rabbanan. That is saying what a Braita explicitly said. And the Braita quote now, matzah kli l'fanav perot. You find a basket, and in front of it, on the floor, are perot, or kisu l'fanav ma'ot, or a wallet, and in front of it, or a person, if one of it are money, harei elu shelo. You can keep, now you can't keep the basket, just to be clear. You can't keep the purse, but you can keep the fruit or the money, which is not inside the basket. Now, says the Braita, what if it's miksatan b'kli or miksatan agabi karka? You got a basket, and it has 3 apples in it, and there's 3 more apples on the ground, right, in front of it. So do you assume, oh, these apples came from that basket, and it's one thing. So says the Braita, if miksatan b'kis or miksatan agabi karka, then chayav la'achris, then you do have to announce. You should make the logical assumption that this is associated, and whoever comes and finds this, says this is their basket, will get the fruit. But there's a Braita which seems to contradict that, because the Braita says, Matzat davar she'ein bo siman. Let's say you find an object that has no identifiable feature, like a fruit or a dollar, which is bitzad davar sheyesh bo siman, but next to something like a wallet or a basket that does have a siman, says the Braita, chayav lachris. Then you have to announce, right? But let's continue. But ba bal siman v'natalat shalo, if the person who owns the thing that has a siman, like the wallet or the basket, comes and says, "Oh, this is my wallet. It has, 3 scratches on the back," and gets to take it, then zacha hala b'davar she'en bo siman. But then you get to keep the one who found it, the thing that does not have a siman. So it implies that if some of it is in the wallet and some of it is out, you still can't keep, the person who says that it's theirs cannot keep the thing that's outside. Amar Rav Zvid, says Rav Zvid, well, it's all context dependent. And this, of course, goes for all these halachot, right? Says Rav Zvid, lokasha, it depends on what the object is. Ha bekuba de bekitna. If you find a kuba vekitna, a kuba is Rashi some kind of barrel, but I don't think it means like a barrel like of, obviously it's not a barrel that we think of. It's a barrel that contains kitna, which is flax, right? So meaning it's a container where you have flax inside of it, where, now the assumption there is that if you dump that barrel over and the flax falls out, some of it's going to stay behind, right? Flax, I guess, it's like hair, right? It's a little sticky, and some of it will stay behind. And so if you find that it's not partially behind, then you have to assume none of it, you assume it didn't come from the barrel, right? Let me read inside. So that's, one is by Kuba V'Kitna, B'Tzana V'Peri. The other one is where you have a tzana, which is a basket, and fruit. Remember, fruit are very loose, right? Fruit will fall out very easily. Excuse me. And so therefore, by fruit, it's very common that they're all going to fall out. And therefore, by flax, if you find that all of the flax is outside of the barrel, you assume it didn't come from the barrel. Because if it would have, you would have seen something left behind. But by the basket and the fruit, it's very possible that this was full of apples and it spilled over and all the apples fell out. It's the kind of thing that falls out more easily. Rav Papa says, similarly, Hava Habitzana of a pear. You could say they're both talking about a basket and fruit. And Lokasha, the difference between the Braita, which implies that you have to give the fruit that's outside it to the person who found the basket, who said the basket is theirs, and the other Braita, which says you don't, is the difference between them actually is, did you find just fruit outside the basket, or was some of it inside the basket? If there's something in the basket, then it's much, much more likely that what's outside was related to that owner as well, right? So that's the difference. And the third possibility is havaha delo shtar b'midi. Both cases are where you have a basket, you have fruit, and there's no apples left in the basket. The question is, do you assume these apples came from the basket? And the difference between the two braitot is, what direction is the basket facing, right? Meaning, what's the context? What does it look like? Lokashia hada mahadra ape legabi peri. One is where the face of the basket is facing towards the fruit, so it's plausible or likely maybe that this basket fell over and the fruit fell out of it. Hadalo mahadra ape legabi peri. One is where it's not facing it. Now, of course, even if it's not facing it, it could have been it was before and it turned around. Like, there's all kinds of scenarios, but the point is that you have to go with what's most likely, and therefore you make some distinctions between the situation. You try to assess, does it look like this came from that? And if it does, then if you find the basket, if someone, identifies the basket with the siman, you have to give them the fruit as well. And I think there's a fourth answer, the last answer before the 2 dots, that in fact both are where the basket is actually facing the fruits, right? So maybe the fruits came out of the basket. One is where there's a lip on the basket, right? There's an edge. And one is the letle ognin litzana. One is where there's not an edge. And therefore, obviously, again, if there's an edge, a lip, you assume it's more difficult for things to come out. And if they did spill, it's more likely that something would stick behind. It wouldn't all fall out right away. And therefore, you would assume that what's outside the basket did not come from the basket. But if there's no lip, then it's easier for things to come out, and therefore you have to make that assumption. And again, it's very hard to make hard and fast rules, right? Because obviously it depends on what you find and how likely that thing is to fall out and how it falls and what it looks like. But the Gemara is making the point that you can use the context, or Braito use the context to try to decide whether the object that you found is related to the basket or the barrel or things like that. And again, the critical point here is that the object has no siman. Right? There's no way to identify and say, this is my apples, right? But the basket, of course, does have a siman, and therefore you might be able to assume that they are connected.
You said in the first answer that the flax and the fruit, in the case of the flax, it belongs to the owner, and the fruit belongs to the finder.
Correct. That was the first brighter, right? And so, when we made a difference in the flax and the fruit, is it was talking about a case, which again we moved on from there, but the case was where you found the container and all of this material right in front of the container. So by flax, we said it's less likely that it came from the container because some of it would have been left behind. By fruit, it's more likely it came from the container and you just dumped it out, and none of the oranges are left behind. But flax is the kind of thing that is clingy and is not distributed as easily as oranges, and therefore most you assume someone would be left behind. And since it wasn't, right, since it's a clean barrel and a pile full of flax, you assume they're not connected in the.
And it belongs to whom?
So the barrel is going to belong to whoever has a siman, but the flax will belong to whoever found it, and it's basically hefker, right? It's basically yush, and you keep it because there's no siman for it.
That's it. The commentary here says just the opposite, based on the Steinsaltz. He said the flax belongs to the owner and the fruit belongs to the finder.
It's not what Rashi says. So I can't. Rashi says that if you find again, the case says, just to clarify, if you find an empty barrel or an empty basket and this flax or fruit in front of it, if it's flax, then you assume that because there's nothing in the barrel, it didn't come from the barrel. And so the finder gets to keep it. And if it's fruit, it's the opposite, that you have to assume it might have come back out of it.
I'm just saying it's a comment. It just says the opposite. Okay.
And again, I maybe Tosas argues, but that's what Rashi seems. I think that's what Rashi says. Okay, let's continue. We're at the two dots. Tziburei perot v'tziburei.
Yeah, the Steinsaltz list a whole bunch of Rishonim who have different interpretations of all this, and
Okay.
probably take 10 minutes to go through them all.
Correct.
Steinsaltz usually puts Rambam's opinion first because he's a Lubavitcher.
Okay. Okay, so I just for the record, I'm reading it now, but I didn't read it before. Oh my goodness. Tosfot does disagree with Rashi. Tosfot makes the point that Tosfot's point actually is somewhat different. I'm reading it quickly, is that flax is usually tied together, so it falls out as a bundle, but fruits are never tied together. You can't tie oranges together.
Well, that's what he says here in this commentary.
Right, that's Tosfot's shot. So Rashi, I told you what Rashi said, but that's what Tosfot says. Okay, continues the Gemara there at the two dots, Tziburei perot v'tziburei ma'ot, right? If the Mishnah said you find bundles of fruit and bundles of money, Shema Mina, you see from here that a bundle, now, obviously remember, the fruit itself is not a siman. The fact that it's bundled together is a siman. What's the siman there? Must be the number matters, right? The person who lost it is going to say, I lost 6 oranges, and because they're together, it's not 6 individual oranges, it's a bundle of 6 oranges, you'll give it back. So you can prove from here. This is a machloket we had, earlier in the parak. Shema mina minyan havi siman. You see from here that in fact that the number is a siman. So well, maybe the Mishnah didn't mean tziburei, which means bundles, and then one pile, tzibur perot, and therefore it doesn't mean that it's the number. It's shema mina makom havi siman. That the proof from here would be that the place, right? It's not the number that matters. It's that you can say, I remember dropping it by the 3rd bench next to the 2nd oak tree, and the fact that that's a designated spot is what makes it a siman. Says, well, that it's not necessarily proof for that either, because that Tana or that Amora could say tzibure perot, meaning you can't prove from our Mishnah whether the important factor is the number of piles or the location of the pile. So you can't prove from here whether the siman is the number or the siman is the place. Remember, we had a machloket before, Rava and Abaya, right? Which of those things is the most important factor. Continue the Mishnah. You find 3 coins, one stacked on top of each other. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Magdala. What's significant about that? Again, the point here is that you're saying these are not just loose coins, because if they're loose coins, if someone drops coins, they give up on it because they assume no one's going to find it. There's no way for me to acknowledge these are my coins, right? How do you prove a quarter is yours, right? So there's no way for me to say it's mine, therefore you give up. But if you put them there in a specific pile, like a tower, right, with the quarter and then the nickel and then the dime, then you'll be able to say, I put these coins there in a very specific way, and anyone who found that knows they're mine. So says Rabbi Yitzchak Magdala, right? Yitzchak who made the towers, right? So interesting, he talks about these towers. Behu shasuyam kemigdalin. That's when you didn't find three coins randomly placed on top of each other. It's where they're made like a tower, and they are what I just described. There's wider, narrower, and then narrowest, right? So they have to not only have position, they have to have specific shapes, right? In fact, the Braita says that clearly. If you find money that's just dispersed, you get to keep it. There's no siman there. But if it's a suyin kimigdalim, if it's made like a very defined tower, then chayav lahachriz, and you have to announce, I found money, and the person will have to come and say, this is how I left it. It says the Braita, what does that mean? It's made like a tower. Shlosha matbein zal gavzeh. A minimum of three stacked on top of each other. Says, well, first of all, the contradiction of the Braita is clear, right? Because first it says if they're random, you get to keep it. Then it says if they're organized, you have to return it, right? But what if they're in between? What if they're semi-organized, right? Hagufa kasha. Yeah, this itself is a contradiction in the last narrow line. Amrit, you said matzah ma'ot mefuzarot re'ushalo. If it's spread out randomly, you could keep it. If it's sort of, spread out a little bit, but meaning they're leaning on top of each other, but sort of disorganized, then it implies that's chayav la'achriz. You would have to announce because at least it's not totally random. But Ema Sefer, the last case says they have to be made like a tower. Then you have to announce it, implying that if they're, somewhat dispersed, you can keep them. So Tana, no, this is what the Braita is telling you. If they're randomly distributed, you can keep them. If they're not, you have to announce it. What does it mean that they're not randomly distributed? If it's not made like a clear tower, they're not just, a pile together, but an organized pile, right? Where the biggest one's on the bottom and then the next one, so that there's clearly a design here, then otherwise you can keep it because it's considered to be spread out. Amar Rabbi Chanina, lo shanu ela shlosha malachim. Just to be clear, when we say three coins, it means three coins from different kingdoms. They can't be three American quarters. You got to have American coins and Israeli coins and British coins, right? It's got to be three different kinds. What does that mean, right? What do you need three different? Why do you need three kings? Who cares? But if you have one king, then you can just keep it. Says more 1 second. What do the coins look like? If they're stacked up, then even if it's one king, there's clearly a design here. If they're put out randomly or they're just placed in sort of some random order, who cares if they come from different countries? Ella says, you're right. The point we're trying to make is that generally different kingdoms will have different size coins. And the point here is that we're going based on the size, right? That you intentionally took a big one and put on the bottom, a medium-sized one, a small one. So that's the key point. It really doesn't matter if they come from different countries. The point just is that these are not necessarily the same coin. It's not just a stack, it's a tower, right? El yitmar hachi yitmar. Lo shanu el melech echad. It could be one king, one American money, but it has to be similar to from three different countries, meaning three different types of coins that are stacked intentionally, right? And hechidami, how is that? Dasuyin kemigdalim. They're made like a tower. And in case you don't know how to construct a tower, Rosa, revicha tata'a, the widest one goes on the bottom. Metzia ila'a, then the middle-sized one goes in the above it. Vizuta ila'a, and then the small one goes on the top. Right?
Yeah.
Metzia de aminan anchuni anchinu. Right? Now that we're talking about is where you found that is where you say, sorry, Zuta aliyah metzia. The small one goes on top of the middle one. The aminan, there you say anchuni anchinu. They were placed intentionally. And therefore they were placed intentionally. And the person who finds them should assume that someone who left them there wants to come back and get them. They're not given up, they're not yush. There's a way to identify how you left them, which was not random. And so you pick them up, you take them, and you announce, I found coins, and the person should come and describe what he left. But if they're from one nation, meaning, that they are all similar, then afagav demanchia hadadi, even though they're stacked on top of each other, re'il shalom, because 3 coins stacked on top of each other does not show that you intentionally put it that way. That might just be the way they fell. Amar itramuye itrami. It could be that you just happened that they fell. Bahadi hadadi nafon. They fell at the same time. And that is one opinion. And Reb Yochanan's opinion, 4 lines from the bottom, 5 lines from the bottom. Amar afilo shalmelech echad nami machris. You know what? Even if you find 3 coins stacked on top of each other, that's also not so random, right? So you assume that you have to announce that somebody left those coins. As this is my machris. Now, what would you? This is an interesting Gemara, but I'm going to go quickly. My machris. What exactly do you announce? Minyan. If you announce, I found 3 coins, right? Come and tell me how they were arranged, right? And that will prove that's yours. But if you're announcing the number of coins, meaning the number is not the question, it's the arrangement, then why does it have to be 3? Our Mishnah said 3, right? A minimum of 3. Why can't you say 2? Because 2 also have an arrangement. It's the big one and the small one, right? The small one and the big one, however you describe it. So my area tlata feel train nami, maybe 2 coins you should also have to announce, not just 3. Ravina, you're right. What you announced, actually, again, I'm going through, we're going to get to this later, so that's why I'm doing it. But tiv'a machris, you announced, I found coins, right? And when you say I found coins, the point is that part of what the person has to prove is how many coins. So they have to prove how many coins and how they were arranged, right? So the number is significant here. And of course, when you say coins, everybody knows you found at least 2. So coming and saying, oh, you found 2 coins is no big chachma because that's the minimum number. You basically announced that already. So therefore, you have to prove the number and the location, and that's why you need a minimum of 3 for it to be significant. By Reb Yirmiyah. Ask Reb Yirmiyah at the bottom of 3rd line from the bottom, what if it was placed in some other format that looks very intentional? What if it's kashir? A shir is like a semicircle, Rashi says, an igul. Right? Not a circle, but half. Anyways, I'm not sure how the word shear means that exactly. I don't know if they say.
He says bracelet.
Bracelet. Okay, is a shear a bracelet? Is that?
Yeah, Rashi says it was a bracelet. God said
Yeah.
that.
No, Rashi, I understand. Rashi says that the shape is like that, but the question is, how does the word shear mean that? But I guess the shear can mean that. So anyway, so it's spread in like a circle, right? Or kishurama, or you make it like a straight line, like a long snaking line that wouldn't come randomly. Or kechatsuvama. Rashi has pictures. Rashi's got stars. I knew it. It's like a tripod, right? I always love when Rashi has pictures, right? You see those 3 little dots in Rashi all the way at the bottom. So I mean, it seems like not random, right? It's like Illuminati signal, as my kids would say. Kisulama, or if it's shaped like a ladder. Anyway, it says in where a ladder meaning you have a coin and you have a second coin on top of it that's overlapping a little bit, and a 3rd coin that's overlapping a little bit. So they're, it's like the stairway going up. Obviously, it has to be the big one on the bottom, but meaning they're stacked that way on top of each other. It says in where we can at least prove that one of these is considered by the rabbis. Rav Nachman said, Kol she'ilo machnis la kisom beinehem. If you can stick a little twig underneath the coins and raise all of them together, then they're considered to be a unit, right? Then chayav lachris, then you have to announce because they're a unit. That would really apply to the case of the ladder, right? Where if you have to be very careful, it's like Jenga, right? You be very careful. You lift it up, you can actually lift them all together. Boy, Ravashi. Ask Ravashi, turn the page to with that. Ka'avne Beit Kulis. What if you find them like the Avne Beit Kulis? Avne Beit Kulis was a avodah zarah called Markulis. Remember, we've learned about this before. They would stack stones up and throw the stones and use the stones, but they would stack them 2 and 1. So there'd be, 2 on the bottom and 1 on top. So that's not what our Mishnah talked about, right? Our Mishnah talked about a tower, 3 in a row. What about this case? Mahu Tashma. When we learned in a Braita, Titania Matzah Ma'ot Mefuzarot Reil Shalo. If you find money dispersed, you can keep it. Continues the Braita. If it's Ka'avne Beit Kulis, if they're stacked like Avne Beit Kulis, then Chayav Lachris, then you have to announce it. Ve'elahem Avne Beit Kulis. What is that arrangement? Achat mikan, v'achat mikan, v'achat al gabehem. 2 at the base basically, and 1 resting on top of them. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Braita, Hamotze Sela b'shuk. Right? Let's say you find a coin in the shuk. Now, coins, as we said, are undistinguishable, right? Every coin is the same from the king. Or the matzu chavero, you find another person who's like, oh, you found the coin, that's my coin, right? And you start giving identifying information. Vomer shalihu, it's mine. Chadashahi, it's very shiny. How would anyone know it's very shiny? Or nironiti, it's from Nero, right? I guess some coins were, I don't know, I'm sure Steinfeld said something about this, but I guess some coins were stamped with Nero and some weren't or something. Or Shalmelech Plonihi, or it's a coin from, a certain king. So you basically can identify that. Says the Gemara, lo amar klum, it doesn't matter, right? Because money is basically exchanged all the time. So the fact that you can identify it, maybe it was once yours, but maybe you paid for your groceries with it, right? And now it's from the grocer. Like there's no way for you to prove that it was still in your possession because money is used all the time. Oh, not only that, even if you wrote your name and your phone number on the dollar bill, right? That's not proof that it's yours. Lo amar klum. Lefi she'ein siman lematbeya. There is no siman for coins, for things that are used as money. The amar, because we always say, Doma afuki afka. You used it. You spent this money. You bought something with it. V'inish achrina nafal. And then the game went to somebody else and they dropped it. So you absolutely can identify the coin. You can tell us about it in a way that's completely singular. That doesn't prove that it's still yours, because presumably you gave it over, or you might have given it over, and it fell from somebody else. So the fact that your name is written on the dollar bill does not mean you get to keep all the dollar bills in the world. So stop writing your name. Continues the Mishnah. Matzah achar gappa. Let's say you find an object behind a fence. So that gives you a sense, right, that a person didn't drop it randomly, that they placed their, they were walking and they didn't want to bring, I don't know, their watch into the metal detector. So they put it down behind the fence, like when we go to concerts, right? You go to a concert, they don't let you bring stuff in. So you put it down behind the fence. You think you're going to come back and get it afterwards. I can assure you, you're never going to find it afterwards, right? But that's the case, right? So you put this thing behind the fence. Oh, achar hagader. A gappa is like a woven fence, like using like wood or something, slats. And a geder is where you stones, right? Where you bat. Anyways, but same kind of thing. So it's a border. Goes lot mikusharim. You find a bunch of birds that are tied, live birds, are tied together. So presumably, again, someone's collecting birds and they either ran off to daven mincha or whatever, and they put their birds down and they left them there in a way that they're going to come back and get them. Oh, b'shvilin shebesadot, or you find them in the rows in the field where someone seemed to sort of hidden them in order to come back and get them. Where it's going to go through the case. Hareze lo yigabem. You shouldn't touch these things. And the reason you shouldn't touch these things, very interestingly, is that they don't have a siman, right? Because it's something like, so watch was not a good example, but birds, for example, or fruit, right? There's no siman. The person hid it there and they're going to come back and get it. If you pick it up and take it, you can never return it to the person because how are they going to prove it's theirs, right? But you can't go back and put it there. The person's going to give up and think it was never taken. So you should leave it there. The person intentionally left it there. Let them come back and get their own thing. Matzah kli b'ashpa. You find a thing in the garbage. Now, this sounds like you're checking people's trash, right? And you find a beautiful toaster oven, right? So matzah kli ba'ashba says the Mishnah, im mechuseh, if it's covered by trash, lo yigabo, don't touch it, because the person hid it there, and that's the best place to hide something. No one's ever going to look, and they're going to come back and get it. But im muguleh, but if it's open, then notel machriz, then you can take it, and you should announce that it was lost. And the Gemara is going to ask, if the guy threw it out, what are you announcing? So we'll see in the Gemara. Now, go back to the first case. My timer, why shouldn't you touch something that you find behind a fence? My timer, Damrina, because you have to assume, Hani inish itzni inu, this person hid it there in order, they thought no one would find it. And of course, you found it right away. And they thought no one would find it. Vishakalahu, and if you do take it and pick it up, then you can't even return it because let lumarayu simana begavayo. They don't have any siman. It's just a bunch of fruit. It's a bird, right? There's nothing about it that's unique. Hilkach l'shavkinu, you should leave it there ad atu maraya v'shakale until the owner comes and takes it for himself or herself. V'amai says, well, why isn't there a siman? If these birds are tied together, remember we've talked earlier, everyone makes their own kind of knot, right? And so why isn't the kesher, lahavi kesher simana, why isn't the tie, the knot that you made to put these birds together itself a siman? You'll say, I tied them in such and such a way. If there's 20 ways to tie a knot, you can prove that it's yours based on that. No, they're actually not tied together with a knot. They're mikusharim mekanfehem. They're tied together by their wings. I don't exactly know how this works, but the Gemara talks about it all the time, where you basically take the wings and you either put them inside each other or you twist them around each other. So the birds can't fly, but you didn't actually use a knot. And this is what everybody does. This is like the typical way to bundle together your birds, right? If you find 3 chickens, somehow you put the wings together. right? So there's nothing identifiable about doing that. It says, okay, well, having makom siman, but why isn't the place a siman, right? These birds are behind the fence where they wouldn't normally be, and if the guy comes and says, I left my 3 birds right behind the fence at the Whitehall kind of thing, why isn't that a siman? Well, it's because birds hop around. Right? They hop around. So if they hop around, then the siman is not necessarily where you left it. So, well, if they hop around, then they should be totally hefker, right? Even madidin me'amatu. They came from, who knows where they came from? Mutarim, these should be, right? Anything that flies away, you don't have hope that you're going to ever get it again. Says the Gemara, well, that's the case here, is they're birds. They don't fly a lot. They fly a little bit. They hop a little bit. So you don't know. They might have come from the world and therefore they're free. You might be the case that someone hid it there and you don't know the answer. It is a case where there's a doubt. Did someone put it here or did not? The circumstances raise the doubt, but it's not convincing. And Amar Rav Abba Bar Zavda, Amar Rav, Kol Safek Hinuach, anytime where there's a doubt, did someone put this thing here or not, you should not touch it. The Chatchila lo yitol, you should not touch it, right? Because again, if you do take it, there's not going to be a siman, they're not going to be able to prove it's theirs. The im yitnatol lo yachzer, and if you take it, you shouldn't put it back. There's a huge debate, Rashi and Tosfot and other opinions here, about what it means you shouldn't put it back. Rashi does say, you don't give it back to anyone who finds it because there's no way for them to have a siman. Tosfos says it means you can't put it back in the spot, right? Because once you pick this thing up, you're sort of stuck because you don't know whose this is. There's no way for you to give it back to anybody because there's no way to prove it's theirs. But you basically have a responsibility as a shomer. You're now basically have to watch this for somebody else, and you can't just put it back on the side of the highway. That's not watching it, right? So you basically would have a responsibility, according to the way Tosfot reads this, to keep it in your house and protect it until Eliyahu comes, right? Which is never like the story of, not never, but it's like the story of Pinchas ben Yair, right? Where you basically had more and more and more, not Pinchas ben Yair, but Chanina ben Dosa. We had more and more and more chickens, right? Raised from the ones that he found. So it becomes very challenging if you pick it up. So best thing is don't touch it. Finally, the last case of our Mishnah, or last case we're going to go through now, is matzah kli ba'ashpa. You found a toaster in the garbage. So that said the Mishnah mechuseh, if it was dug in, lo yigabo, don't touch it. If it's open, then you should pick it up and announce it and try to find the owner. Ask them every minute. But there's a Braita which says something different. It says in the Braita, matzah kli tamun ba'ashpa. If you find something dug out, this is what our Mishnah said, hidden in the garbage, notelo machriz. You should take it and announce, I found something. Anyone who left something in the garbage, tell me what it was. Why, says the Braita? Shkein derech ashpa lifanot. Because the derech of a garbage dump is that you dump it out, that you clear it out, right? That they move it out. So therefore, you should pick it up and you should announce. And that's not what our Mishnah seemed to say, right? Our Mishnah made it sound like you're supposed to leave it there if it's dug in, right? If it's hidden, you should leave it there. Amar Rav Zvid, well, it depends on what you found. Lo kashya ha bekubi v'kasi. If you found things that are big items that don't fall into the garbage by mistake, right? It's very hard to mistakenly drop a mattress, let's say. Not that a kubi is a barrel, right? It's a barrel, basically, doesn't fall in by mistake into the garbage. So you assume that if it's there, that a person intentionally put it there, right? And therefore you should leave it there and don't announce it. The guy's going to come back and pick it up. But with things like knives and small kalim, you're throwing out your platter, you throw out a knife by mistake with the food. And so therefore, even though it's dug in, you assume it was a mistake and you should take it out and you should announce, I found something in the garbage. This guy's going through his possessions. He can't find any of his knives. And he says, oh, I must have thrown them out in the garbage, right? The kubi vikasi, if it's big things like a barrel or a container, lo yiga, you shouldn't touch it because it was probably put there intentionally. But bischini v'himne, if it's small things like knives and utensils, no telo machriz, you should take it out and you should announce. That's the first answer. That's Rav Zid's answer. Rav Papa says it really depends on the nature of the garbage. Hava could be v'kasi. We're really talking about big things that people probably put there intentionally. The lokashia, but it depends on what kind of garbage it's in, right? Kam be'ashpa hasuya lifanot. One is if you put your thing in a garbage that they clear every Monday and Thursday, then you can't assume you're going to come back from your trip to the to Canada and find your thing still there. You know they're going to empty out the garbage, right? And so there, you shouldn't leave it there because the person's going to lose it. We're going to ask in a second. If you put it in a garbage that's being thrown out, he doesn't want it, right? It's like when you try to throw things away and they call you up and they say, "We found your item with your name on it," right? You're trying to get rid of it, right? But that's one answer, says Rav Papa. And kan ba'ashpa she'ena asui lefanot. One is by a garbage that is rarely cleared out, and therefore the person is presumably going to come back and get it. Ashba asui lefanot, says the Gemara, but if it's a garbage that they empty out all the time, and the person put their thing there, and it's a big thing that you put intentionally, why are you returning it to him? He's throwing it away. Avedam midati. He intentionally lost it, right? That's what you call avedam midat. He wanted to lose it. Ella says, "Well, you're right. It can't be that case. The case is, and we had this yesterday. So if you paid attention yesterday, none of this is a surprise. It's talking about an ashba she'ena asuya lefanot. It's definitely talking about a garbage that is generally not, it's like a garbage pile behind the school, right? They never clear that out. So you figure no one's going to go looking for something valuable there. I'm going to take my valuable thing and I'm going to hide it there, right? And of course, what happens is that the next day, someone makes an announcement, we're refurbishing the school and we're clearing out this garbage that's been there for 20 years. Right? So then you scavenge through it and you find these stuff hidden there. So you could assume the person who put it there thought it was going to still be there when he comes back, but it's not. So you should take it out and you should hide it. You should keep it and announce that you found this thing, right? So that's where it makes sense to take it out of the garbage, right? So it's talking about, let's read it inside. Ashpa she'ena asuya lefanot. Generally, this garbage is not cleared out. V'nimlach aleh lifnota. They change their mind and decide we're going to clear out this big pile of junk for the first time in a decade. And so then if it's hidden, right, you should, I'm sorry, if it's that case and they change their mind, then you should take out the thing because the person otherwise is going to lose it. If it's not going to be cleaned out, this is a garbage, it's not going to be cleaned out, then you should leave it there because the person is going to come back and get it. It says in our Bishmaler of Papa, the second answer, I understand. Sorry, the first answer, that's what it means when it says that the ashba is definitely, sometimes things are being thrown out in the ashba, right? So this is the second answer. So basically we're saying, if this ashba is being cleared out, then you should take things from it and return them to their owners. Ella the Rav Zvid, Rav Zvid, who said the difference was whether it's a big item that people put there intentionally or small items that probably fell by mistake. So what does that have to do with the ashba being cleared out? Right? The question is whether you did it intentionally or not. So what does it mean? Shekain derech ashba lifanot, that the reason you should take it is that because it's the derech of a garbage dump to be emptied out. Says Rav Zvid, it means shekain derech ashba lifanot lakelim ktanim. Doesn't mean it's the derech of a garbage dump to be cleared out. It's the derech of your house, right, of your small things to fall into a garbage, right? So the fanot is not the garbage is cleared out. Your dishes are cleared out. Your items are cleared out because it happens that people drop small things into a garbage by mistake. And so according to Rav Zvid, the issue is whether you found an item that was put there likely intentionally, which you should leave, or probably by mistake, which you should take and announce. And according to Rav Papa, that's not the case. The case is it's always where things were put there intentionally. The question is it a garbage that's going to stay that way? No one plans to mess up this garbage, so leave it there. Or did they decide that they're going to clear out this garbage and then you should take it out and you should return it to its rightful owner? So now we know what to do if you find something in the garbage. Tomorrow, we're going to find more cases of where you find things in identifiable places and pick it up from there. So happy Purim, everyone. Glad we worked this out. Hope everyone has a very fun day.
Thank you. Chag Sameach.
Thanks, Samir.
Chag Sameach.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to the synagogue now. I'll be back soon. I'll help you get your breakfast. You okay now? Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable now? I said, are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? Yes, how are you? Are you comfortable? Are you okay? You comfortable? I am. Okay, I'm going. I'll be back soon. I'll be back in probably about an hour. Going to the synagogue. Be back soon, okay? Be back soon. All right, you comfortable? You wanna sit up? You wanna lie down or you wanna sit up a bit? I give you some milk that I gotta leave now. They're gonna start. It's Purim today. Purim, happy Purim. Purim. Thank you.
All right. All right, okay, I'm now, I'm gonna follow this. Whatever, I guess I'll wait for the next one. It's, you know, it's supposed. I need, but he's in one of the schools, I think. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Yes, seasons, yes. You know, yes. You know, great woods. Thank you. Deep wood, some of vegetables. Open up the can of salmon or tuna, whatever, eat the whole thing, you know, split it. All right. I use a credit card, you don't have to cash the paper, use the credit card. All right.
Hello. Metzia, Purim. Happy Purim. You leaving? Well, it was up with touch. Oh, the pain. It's the word over there. I didn't put on the Purim socks. No more. Oh, Lord. Okay, hi.
Hi,
Good morning.
good
I
morning.
came back from synagogue. Happy Purim. Thank you.
Which school?
You're nice and warm. Yeah,
Everybody say anything about your house?
nobody. That's the Riverdale Jewish Center. Nobody says anything. When I had the Hanukkah sweatshirt, one person said something. His name was David Sass. Made Hanukkah.
Did he see you today?
He wasn't there.
Oh,
Maybe he went earlier, or maybe he's going later. They have different minyanim. This is it's the Riverdale Jewish Center. So they have the rabbi, he's having it in his house, not in the synagogue. The young rabbi. I don't know where his house is. You know where his house is? Have you ever met the guy?
I mean, I've heard him talk on the assistant rabbi.
Yeah, you heard him speak? When?
Oh, one of the luncheons. He's so funny.
At a luncheon? What luncheon?
The senior lunch.
Oh, he spoke once. That's right. He did speak once. He speaks pretty well. Like he gives the class Wednesday nights. Well, where's his house? They don't announce that. And the Zirkin, where's his house? It's on the road, the 239th Street somewhere. And I see him walking back there. But I don't know where. I don't know. So he's having to run to the house, open up. I thought it would be a synagogue. Somebody said it rained today. Going out of the shore said if there was rain today, like yesterday, there would be snow. What? How do you make that up? The temperature said it's a bright sunny day.
But 32 degrees and it would be snow if it was raining.
I don't. 32 degrees. Oh, yeah, Muskegon, there was snow. It's 34 degrees. Sunny, it's gonna be 47. It was raining today. There'd be snow. But I don't think so. If it rained today, there'd be snow, I don't think so. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. No worries, it's that, no. I was up till 3:30 in the morning. What? I was up till 3:30 in the morning. And it's in the. I just watched a little bit of basketball after my mother got her to bed, sat down. I went to the mail, what did I do? Oh, I looked at a little bit, then some email on the basketball briefly, and then I listened to the Shir by Eli Stefanski. I finished about 2:30ish. Until I listened to it. And then I had to do then I went through all my emails. That to delete, and then I was looking for them. This patient wants to come back and see me. He called me, he says on Friday. He said, I think I wasn't sure I placed him. And then I thought about it, and he said, you remember me? I said, he said, I saw you about 4 or 5 years ago. I said, yes. He said, by face. He said, yeah, I'm sure you remember me. So 4 or 5 years ago. I know, I know he is. He said to me first, he said, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, first thing he said. So now I remember, he's a Russian guy originally, but he's been in America a long time. The watch salesman, he sells watches. Travels all over the world, sells watches, $100,000 watches. I see who pays that, he said, that's not a watch, it's a status piece. They're not interested in it. These people, they have to 4, 5, 6 months, 10 months, to get you to the same. They're buying, like some people buy artwork. Some people buy collect stamps, some people, a few people collect watches. What do you do?
I think it's something. I. Why? I think. What is it? How, looking at somebody else, wanting what they have, you get.
That one thing is known in their program. But they think yeah, I think yeah, all those things, I don't know that. I don't no, I guess you know on the other place. I don't know, I didn't even, I get it, maybe. But their program finished, it's a TV program. Where they get.
I
read only one of them, the guy with the brain wash. The brain brush. So, I think I got 14 of them. Those one I read, the brain wash. And that was the video actually. Oh, so you read all these things? No, I didn't read that. Well, that's still in my email. So somebody's telling something to advice that she wants something down the line.
They money to buy watch.
And so he
He
lost
was
that.
no, he was so pleased with it.
What?
He was so pleased with it.
Okay.
And then he sees another guy with a watch and he goes, oh, wow. You thought you had something really nice. This is watch is junk. And then he thought that. They tell you, don't look to the next guy, look at yourself, about yourself, and showing you back. They talk about watches, so now.
So this guy calls me, and so I was looking for him last night in all my files, and I wanted to find the chart. The chart must be here somewhere.
Is it here or is it that one that you got to me throw it out?
No, it's here. I didn't throw any of those charts out. Not those charts. So I found the last file in the computer. I typed it in the computer. I was typing it. It's not a video lecture, but I have the file. I'm searching through my discs. I found it. Last time I saw him, he said, I saw you about 5 years ago. I said, I don't even think you're in my electronic computer system for subscriptions for that. Maybe I said that. He said, maybe a little longer, 10 years ago. I haven't seen a guy in 10 years. He's always coming back to me. Where's he been for 10 years? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, tells me he's selling watches. Maybe he is. But he's a Russian person selling watches. $100,000 watches. I mean, he tells me that's what he's selling for. I mean, you begin to think, I mean, Oh, a Russian watch salesman, $100,000. Maybe there's more to it than that. Now, what do I know? Like, remember that?
Yeah.
He gave me a ride. I remember he gave me a ride. I was living in Brooklyn then. I did. I was living in Brooklyn. So he gave me a ride to, I don't think he gave me a ride home. He gave me a ride to the subway. Like that. So he had a. Car. I guess somewhat similar to mine. I had mine at this car then. I guess it's almost 10, 12 years ago. So he had a car with the navigation system and the screen and map, but it was a little more advanced, I think. But a little more, not that big. But his was a. Was either a Mercedes or a BMW. So I don't remember, whatever it was, doesn't matter. But I gotta get up, she's gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. Has to. Gotta do that. Oh, so. That's gonna, 10:30. We'll have to leave in the building.
Am I right now, or?
Yeah, I gotta do it now. And she got, they get ready to go to the bathroom. Get her ready. And you gotta do this now. And it's already 10:30. You won't get to wash and clean it because the new. Open house at his house. Where's his house? Going to his house? What is a huge bruise under there? Or like doing reflection? Well, mother, I'm looking wrong, it's just a reflection. Looks like you had a bruise. Mother, I got a new shirt, see this? See what it says? I can't read it from my back.
I can't fix stupid. But I can help you see it.
Mother, my shirt says I can't fix stupid, but I can help you see it. What? The back of my shirt says, can you read that? It says, I can't fix stupid, but I can help you see it. That's a bit of a joke.
What does it say? No.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke.
What's it front?
I don't know.
See, can't see the door.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Company.
Wait. Bye. Okay. Well, thank you. I went to bed. Okay, I just moved your legs. Went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. What? And I slept for 3 hours. So. Here's a good one. So I finally got out at 7 o'clock.
Did you write down when you give your mother and how to do it?
Yes. Oh, the notebook, I was, there's some notebook set aside for, and I still haven't begun to compile it for 3 years now. I got the notebook here. There's put things in a notebook, you know, and papers, bits of papers and my own. It's about take a day off. For vacation. It's hard to do that. People call it the video. Have about. That's it, has like just. Give me your hand. Dry your face. Good, that's good. Make sure you get washed. Here. Okay. A little bit of swelling in your legs. A lot. A little bit here. Right. Okay. I want you to roll over a bit. A little swelling in this leg. Feel the bone. Right here. On your ankles. Okay. Turn over to the left. Put your hand up here. Hold on. That's it. Good. Getting there. Yeah, I know, that's a little tender because it's open there. It's almost closed. Friday it looked worse. Yesterday was better, today it's better. Better, but better. Friday. Okay, you gotta go to the bathroom today. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, come back this way. Come, let go now. Okay, you can let go. Let go, come back this way. Come.
Down.
Huh?
Slowing is down.
There's no some swelling here, that's what I said before. Okay, come this way. Oh. Right. Yeah. Come sit up, right? Sit up like this. Okay. Just sit up, you sit up. Move on. Move over. That's it. Okay, come sit. Sit up, yes, sit. Good. Come on, sit. Sit up. Okay, there we go, come on. Soap and water. Soap and water. Lift up your arm. Lift up your arm, please. Soap and water, that's all. Put your arm. Just soap and water. Soap and water here. Okay, sit, sit. Put down some newspaper here. Newspaper. Put some lotion on your feet. This is some lotion. What? Lotion on your feet. Lotion. Wash your hands. I got this side. Put your arm in here. Put your arm in the sleeve. Lift up your arm. Yeah. Put your arm through the sleeve. Don't pull it through. Pull your arm through. Like that. Come on. Sit up now. Come on, sit. Sit up. Drunk in the sleep. That's it. You all set? What are you doing? Well, what am I doing? I'm helping you get dressed. The buttons here. But how many buttons do you have? I don't know. Did you count them? No. No? Why don't you count them? What, you used to count them to me on the phone when I spoke to you. You were in Michigan. You would count the buttons to me. I did? Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know. Yeah, you did on the telephone. You counted your buttons. Okay. That's good. Cool. Pick up your feet now. Pick up your feet. Hold your foot up. Hold it up. That's it. Good. Good. Hold your foot. Hold your foot. There you go. Yeah. Okay, put on the, lift up this foot. Now, hold it, hold your foot. That's good. Hold your foot. Okay, good. That's good. Put your feet on. Shoes on. Oh, wow. It's okay. I didn't want to lay it. Lie on each shoes, it's my knees. On the other shoes, on the other my other pants, the knees are worn. Put my rub my right knee on the ground. These are new pants. Where have you been? Hey, mother. Yeah. Where have you been? Where'd you go? Where did you go? The doctor said. It's right down here, the door. I'm right here. Mother, I'm right here. I woke you up. You took a little nap. Here. I'm gonna help you brush your teeth. Huh? I wanna help you brush your teeth. Your teeth. Leave that there for a moment. I brought the paper to help you brush your teeth. Okay, that's all. Just you put this here for a moment. Now, open your mouth. Open. Open, we'll brush your teeth. That's it. We're almost done. Don't worry. I know. Hold on. We're back here. Come on, back here. But you got a tooth back there. That's it. I know, and a tooth back here. That's it. Okay, all right. Okay, sit up. Sit up. Okay, you gotta sit up now. Okay, we're gonna put this here. Put that there now. We're gonna rinse your mouth. Rinse it out. Don't choke. That's it. Good. That's it. Okay. And you can wipe your face. Here, take this, wipe your face. Wipe your face. Good. The garlic. Long as they want. The other one, they got, that he was, I got that tea bags, well, I know what I got, it was Friday, and then. The session, it was a tea bag from Stash, and he mélange the thé noir. Now, I haven't seen, have you seen that before? The mélange de thé noir? You didn't see that anywhere?
Cover on your legs, huh? Covering your legs, so you shouldn't be cold. What? I wanna make sure you're not cold. I want you to be cold. See, I'm wearing clothes, you're not wearing anything on your legs. Where did you go back? I'm put on clothes, see, I put clothes on, my legs are covered, your legs are not covered, so I gave you a cover. You have clothes. I don't know what you get.
I don't know either.
All right.
I don't even know where these people live. They don't post it, they're going to. Oh, God. What? Safety. Listen, and post other people's addresses. You're not gonna post it. I didn't watch it, they posted it, do it. To them. We're supposed to know. Who goes to their houses? Mother, let's put that up. We need to get a chair. Here. Let's sit up. I get you some breakfast. Okay, put this up here. What? Put this, I got you some breakfast. You got me what? Breakfast. But I want you to sit and eat here because you're gonna have to go to the bathroom soon to sit on the toilet. So it's easier from this position. Okay, rather than get all dressed and get undressed. So in the meantime, I'll give you some food to eat. What? Food, breakfast food. Get some food. What? Food. I'm gonna give you some food. Some yogurt. Okay? Yogurt, some food to eat. Ow. Come on, I'm gonna help you here. Open your mouth. Open, sit up. Come on, open. Come on, don't put your hand away. No, please, let's leave this here. For now, leave that here for now, so that way you stay clean. Open. I have food. Okay, this is yogurt. Yogurt food. This one is a coffee yogurt. Coffee yogurt. You always like that. You used to buy Dannon until they stopped being kosher. Then you switched to another brand. You wrote them a letter. I saw the letter. I saw the response. Maybe you have your letter, but you got a response from them. They're sorry they couldn't keep kosher, whatever. But you got the letter in your cupboard in Muskegon. Come on. There. Okay, good. Got a good appetite. Sorry. Better get closer here. Okay, here. Good. Come on. That's it. Don't worry about that. Now lift up your head a little bit. Lift up your head up. Lift up your head, please. Lift up, no, please lift up your head a little bit. Hold it there for just a second. Hold your head there. Okay, that's good. You're good now. It's okay. Why? I need to make sure you have a napkin under your chin. That's why. Here. Let's sit up a little bit. Okay. You finished this cup. You want a little more? You sure?
No.
You don't want any more?
No.
You want some banana? Want banana? What's going on? Here. Don't spit out. They don't spit out. Don't spit out your food. You want some more yogurt? You want a little more? A different flavor? Okay, come on, I've got a little, this is some chocolate. What? It said some chocolate, yogurt with chocolate. Yeah. Right. It's yogurt with chocolate. Metzia, get some chocolate in here. Okay, open. Go ahead, swallow. Sit up a little bit. I'm gonna sit up just a little bit more, okay? That's it. Just. Okay, come. Few more spoons. It's yogurt with chocolate. Something you like. I know you do. No, it's yogurt. No, if you swallow, you won't be sick. Believe me, you won't be sick. You won't be sick. Just take your time. It's yogurt. I put a little chocolate in right now, sweeten it. As a treat. You won't get sick. It's milk yogurt with some honey. Won't make you sick. You eat it every day. Go ahead. Stop it. Here. Well. Dropping it, just open your mouth wider. That's good. I don't think so. You eat yogurt every day. You don't get sick. How do you know? Oh, I know. Where's the last spoon now? Of this cup. And last, open your mouth wide. You gotta open real wide and say you're done. Push it to the back of the spoon. Come on, open wide. That's it. There you go. What am I gonna do? Here's a tissue, mother. You okay? You all right? Finish with this one? This one gotta get good. Let me know when you need the bathroom. What's that? Why? What are you doing? You're just making noises.